when I came to office, the conventional wisdom was that China would inevitably surpass the United States. That's not the case anymore.
That was President Biden addressing the nation last night for the first time since dropping out of the presidential election, touting his China policy. Just hours before that speech, however, the U.S. sent out fighter jets to intercept 2 Chinese and 2 Russian long-range bombers off the coast of Alaska. With our adversaries gearing up. Chinese state media also slamming Vice President Kamala Harris, calling her, quote, mediocre, claiming that she lacks the experience to serve as president. But Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said that foreign policy is one of Harris's strengths. Watch.
Very much is her forte because, as I said, I've seen her not only around the world, but I've seen her on the most critical foreign policy questions of our time in the Situation Room at the White House, in the Oval Office with the president.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It is a new day. We thank the good Lord it's a new day. Thank God it is a new day. So good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. It's me, WJONI, Channel 1 Life, many seasons. The story continues. First of all, this guy, this Blinken, Secretary of State, I could never trust anything he says. He just looks like someone you cannot trust. He's just, I don't know. Every time I listen to him, I just feel there's more to it than what he's telling us. The Secretary of State, supposed to be the advisor to the president on foreign affairs and all that kind of stuff, but I just can never trust this guy. So anyway, that's besides the point. China looks at Kamala Harris as easy pickings, meaning easy to get. They don't even consider her to be anything. Not good. Not a good look for America. And I just pray and hope she does not make it. She's not, in my opinion, doesn't have the experience, not qualified. But let's just listen here and just see what's going on here. What the world thinks of America today and the direction we're thinking of heading. But I just hope we don't.
Joining me now is Gatestone Institute senior fellow, author of The Coming Collapse of China and China is Going to War, Gordon Chang, back with us. Gordon, good to see you. Thanks very much for being here. What is your sense of a Harris presidency and what that would mean for America's policy regarding China?
Well, a couple things. As you pointed out, China called her mediocre, which I think is giving her much more credit than she deserves. The Chinese look at her as easy pickings. And one thing that we've got to look at is that every new president comes into office thinking that he can or she can do better than his or her predecessor. So,
but wait, don't you have to have experience or be at least seasoned? Do you think you're going to do better than your predecessor? I don't know what experience Kamala has. And I'm very afraid because I've been very worried since Biden came into office. Now with him going out, I mean, he's older now. That's just probably the only reason why he's getting pushed out. They staged an internal coup, whatever you want to call it, in the Democratic Party. In any case, Biden is out. I don't like his policies. I didn't vote for him, but I'd rather Biden in office than Kamala. This is just a downgrade, heavy, multiple steps, multiple bars downgrade from Biden to Kamala. I'm so afraid for America.
They give China a 2-year pass, and that was what China is counting on with regard to Harris. With regard to her foreign policy expertise, we have watched the world fall apart during the Biden administration. And if she was very good on foreign policy, this would not be happening.
Yeah.
So,
what foreign policy does she have? She doesn't even have a domestic policy. She can't even handle stuff in-house, internally. She was assigned the role the border czar. Even though lately she's been coming out saying, oh, that's not my role. But it was assigned to you. I heard President Biden say Kamala is responsible for the border. Okay, let's take a step back. Okay, You're responsible for the root cause analysis, not the nitty gritty, right? Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, I just have a question. Where is the root cause analysis report on the border crisis? We're still waiting. Everybody's still waiting. And you want to be president? Just like that? I don't know if anybody who works in a job does not perform and gets a promotion. Can somebody tell me? I'd like to apply.
Well, I think that the Secretary of State is involved in some great inflation here because we don't see any evidence that she has a foreign policy forte.
Well, the media is falling in line. I mean, it looks like a complete rewrite of Kamala Harris's performance this morning, whether it's the New York Times or members of the administration. They claim she had nothing to do with Biden's economic policy. And of course, as you say, foreign policy as well is being heralded as so great. Goldman Sachs' chief economist for the Asia Pacific says officials in Beijing are likely saving their fiscal firepower in case China needs to withstand blowback from another potential Trump presidency. So that's what they're saying. But you disagree. You say that China has far less firepower than it claims. You've got this new op-ed out in the Hill titled "China's having its 2008 financial crisis at the worst possible time." Gordon, tell us about it.
Well, first of all, President Biden, who is trying to take credit, what he was looking at was basically failure in China due to the policies of Xi Jinping and his predecessor, Hu Jintao. They delayed the 2008 crisis, and it's having it now. And to any extent that American policy has had an effect, it was President Trump's tariffs in 2018 that has accelerated the crisis.
Accurate.
Biden, on the other hand, has been helping China by dog whistling to American business to stay there. So really what you've got right now in China is a problem because they don't have the ability to use fiscal stimulus to get their economy going again.
Yep.
In the first quarter, they spent 10.8 units in order to get 1 unit of gross domestic product. And in the second quarter, it was 4.2 units to get 1 of GDP. This shows you that fiscal stimulus isn't working. So China doesn't have firepower, and it doesn't have firepower because it's having its 2008. Goldman Sachs is just wrong about this.
China is now appearing to cast itself as the peacemaker in recent days. Ukraine's foreign minister telling his Chinese counterpart during a meeting in the southern Chinese city outside of Beijing yesterday that Kyiv is open to talks if Russia was ready to act in good faith. Senior officials from the Palestinian factions Hamas and Fatah also signing an agreement on Tuesday aimed at ending their division and building unity after talks in Beijing, Gordon. So Beijing wants to appear as if it is the, diplomat of the world or peacemaker, despite we know it has been helping or supporting Russia in its efforts to crush Ukraine.
Yeah, China has made some foreign policy gains because what it's done is it's set fires around the world, and then it's watched while the participants go to Beijing to try to get China to act responsibly. And that's exactly what happened with the Ukrainian foreign minister. Xi Jinping greenlighted the invasion of Ukraine, and since then he's providing all-in support, including lethal aid. So
China definitely, for me, is a country you got to watch. They never, they act all modest and humble and, I'm not involved in this, but behind the scenes, we got to watch them. I can't overemphasize that. It's a country we got to watch. And I'm so afraid right now for America, to be quite honest with you. It's open border policies and people that have come in, and a lot of them have come from China. A lot have come from China. They heard the border was open and they all came in multiple. We see it on the news. And you ask them where they're coming from China. Why are you coming? Biden says we can come. It's open. Kamala says we can come. It's open. I am so afraid. And lately I've been hearing a lot of, it's not if we get attacked. another terrorist attack. It's when. And I'm just praying to God that this administration will be completely taken out in November, get them out and get the right people in to protect Americans, at least. Right now, it's so open. The country's so open to a lot of attacks. I can't even tell you what I'm feeling, but I could only just pray and do what I can and do what we can. It's not good.
Of course, Ukraine wants to go to China to get them to stop doing that. You know, yes, Beijing is trying to show itself as a peacemaker, but what it's really doing is it's waging proxy wars on 3 continents right now, and at the same time, it's pressuring its neighbors: India, Japan, Taiwan, the Philippines. So, yeah, this is how China portrays itself as a peacemaker.
I mean, would you
watch them? Don't trust the Chinese. Don't trust the Chinese. I have my own personal stories. So I stopped eating Chinese food a long time ago. That's my own way to to go in there and fight them. That's my own personal. I'm not saying you should do that, but that's what I'm doing. And I'll tell you real quick. So I remember it was on a Sunday. I came out from church. I was hungry. I went to a Chinese place. I saw the man and the woman. It's a family-owned business. Had steamed white rice, steamed fish. So I come in, I greeted them, acknowledged them, and asked them, do you mind? Can you make me the same thing? They refused. They said, no, this is not for you. Then they give me all this whole thing on pork fried rice and chicken wings and all this stuff. I said, no, I don't want that. I want this. I'll pay for it. They refused. Ever since, I decided to wage my own personal war. So I stopped eating Chinese food. So that's it for me. No more Chinese food. That's how I'm waging my war against them.
Do you expect Kamala Harris to have the same soft policy on China as Joe Biden has had?
Yeah, I think so, because we have no indication that she wants to take a tougher line on China. And Biden has been China's best friend in many respects. Remember, COVID-19, according to Johns Hopkins, has killed 1.2 million Americans. Biden has never asked Xi Jinping about the origins of this disease.
Right.
We haven't heard anything from Kamala Harris on this.
Yeah, that's great. Great point, Gordon. Okay, good to see you this morning, sir. Thank you.
There we have it. Of course, Biden cannot question China. And if Biden cannot do it, why would you expect Kamala? Kamala is a downgrade. Bars, levels, downgrade from Biden. So why would you think she would ask China? Like I said, Kamala has not even handled domestic tasks. One thing she was given for 4 years, no response. We gave you a task, just like they gave you one vote to govern for 4 years. They gave you one task. For 4 years, you have no response, no report. What a shame. We should vote into office someone we believe can do the job of leading us. It's not a game. People's lives are at stake. It's not a game. May God give us wisdom. Thanks for stopping by. It's me, WJ, again on our channel, One Life, Many Seasons. I'll be coming back with more pieces. So I'll be seeing you soon. You know how we like to close this out. Just to remind ourselves that we always remember that we got one life with many seasons. So let's make the best of it. God bless you, and I'll see you soon. You take care now. Bye-bye.